Hello everyone. Welcome to my YNR 24 Spoilers channel. Holden's alluring invitation, Victoria's unwanted advice, Audra, and Sally's plan. Spoilers for Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025 are available for the young and the restless. Fans should anticipate a debate between Sally Spectra and Audra Charles regarding their next course of action. Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, extends an intriguing offer to Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron. Additionally, Victoria Newman offers Kyle Abbott some guidance. Let's discuss what will happen in the upcoming episode of the CBS soap opera as you continue reading. Be sure to visit here for our weekly YNR spoilers. Sally Spectra's shocking revelation. Let's start with Sally, who will see Audra following Abbott Communications' unsuccessful launch party. The redhead, who is crying, informs her companion that Billy Abbott destroyed the business before it had a chance to launch. Sally had previously informed Diane Jenkins Abbott and Jack Abbott of Kane Ashby's intentions for Billy. She will therefore probably inform Audra next. Read more. Discover the events of YNR's most recent episode. Plans by Audra Charles. Audra has a pitiful job from Sally and no business of her own to manage. Both of them will now be unemployed. Audra tends to pursue things until she achieves them, whereas Sally typically just starts again with something new. Therefore, I'm curious if Audra would devise a strategy for them to manage their own business. Holden Novak's interesting details. Holden and Claire will talk again, according to Tuesday, September 23rd spoilers for the young and the restless. The blonde gripes that she needs some space from Kyle. Holden then reveals that he is traveling to Los Angeles. Claire accepts the young man's invitation to accompany him, but when Kyle learns, his skull will probably blow up. Victoria Newman's unwelcome comments. Additionally, fans will witness Victoria and Kyle meeting. The brunette does a decent job of avoiding Claire's relationships, but she will give Kyle some uninvited counsel. The young man is probably advised by the woman to give Claire some space and time. The blonde will only be pushed away if Claire and even Holden are pursued. View this. Spoilers for the young and the restless. Lauren betrays Michael. How will Kane deal with the traitor? September 23rd, 2025, Tuesday. Even though Kyle knows she's correct, is he able to stop himself? I wonder if he will go too far, even though he seems to believe he is in love with Claire. Like Billy, Kyle exhibits a lot of that impulsivity. I wonder if Kyle could follow Holden and Claire to LA, even though he has superior self-control. Stay tuned. Audra and Sally plan their next course of action. According to Tuesday, September 22nd, 2025, spoilers for the young and the restless. Victoria is giving Kyle unwanted advice. Claire is getting an intriguing invitation, and Sally and Audra are planning their next move. The Young and the Restless next episodes. On The Young and the Restless, Audra is fortunate to have a wonderful friend like Sally. Recently, Sally and Audra haven't had the best luck at work or in love. Regarding her career, Sally quit one position to accept another at Abbott Communications, and she has since distanced herself from both her boss and his staff. In a similar vein, Audra rejected Victor, who promised her money if she could demonstrate Kyle wasn't worthy of Claire. Watch how these two stunning, forceful, and dynamic ladies plan their next move on Tuesday's episode. Genoa City, be careful. Claire Crystal. On The Young and the Restless, Claire received an invitation to travel to Paris with her boyfriend Kyle. On Tuesday's broadcast, keep an eye out for Claire to receive an unusual invitation. Will she agree? And if so, will her saying yes have a negative impact on her relationship with Kyle? Is Kyle the one sending the invitation? Although he has already invited her to accompany him to Paris, she is unsure. Claire has good cause to believe that Kyle's idea of a vacation is a diversion from their more pressing issues. But Kyle's patience will be put to the test even more if Claire accepts an invitation from someone else to go on vacation. To Abby's sister, please. On The Young and the Restless image, CBS Victoria supports Kyle even though she wants the best for Claire. Victoria has been consulted by Kyle for guidance on how to handle Claire. Ironically, Victor has responded favorably to him, and Vicky is on his side. Yes, you read correctly. Even the great Victor Newman has a new perspective on Kyle. Claire simply isn't there yet. If Kyle wants to win back Claire's favor, he may need to adopt a different strategy. Keep an eye out for Vicky to offer Kyle some uninvited advice on Tuesday's show. Is Kyle going to follow it? He might get what he wants if he does. Holden's alluring invitation, Victoria's unwanted advice, and Audra and Sally's plan. Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025, spoilers for The Young and the Restless are full of emotional subtext, rich tension, incisive dialogue, and the kind of character-driven conflicts that keep Genoa City buzzing with drama. 3 distinct, yet related stories will be at the center of the next episode. The first is the ongoing repercussions from Abbott Communications' collapse, which left Audra Charles and Sally Spectra scurrying around in the debris. These 2 women are now at a crossroads after being frequently undervalued by the titans of industry who surround Genoa City's corporate world. Do they hone their claws and struggle for supremacy, or do they lick their wounds and go on? According to spoilers, following Billy Abbott's most recent bout of self-defeating behavior, Sally, always the idealist, and Audra, always the tactician, will discuss their next course of action. This is about demonstrating to themselves and the men who question them that they are more than capable of creating something strong from the ground up, not simply about saving careers. Holden Novak remains a surprising presence in Claire Grace Newman's life, while Sally and Audra consider their alternatives. Holden, who is still relatively new to Genoa City, is a symbol of both danger and temptation for Claire, who is still putting her life back together after her traumatic experience as Jordan's pawn. Holden's casual invitation to go to Los Angeles is more than simply a holiday suggestion. It directly challenges the tenuous trust Claire is attempting to establish with Kyle Abbott. Claire's quest for identity and belonging has always put her relationships to the strain, and Holden's appearance seems to be a well-timed opportunity to take advantage of that weakness. Does Holden genuinely want to be friends and provide some fresh air, or does he have other plans that can drive Claire farther away from Kyle and into more trouble? Then there is Victoria Newman, who can't help but get involved in Kyle's business. Victoria has her own intuition about the Abbott family, corporate rivalries, and the patterns of toxic love affairs, even though she has long tried to let Claire handle her own relationships. According to spoilers, Victoria will give Kyle some advice that he might not want to hear. What did she say? Because sometimes exerting more pressure just makes folks go farther away. It's a different story if Kyle pays attention. Victoria's counsel might be met with resistance due to Kyle's impetuous tendencies, particularly if he finds out Claire has even given Holden's invitation any thought. Plans, survival, and sisterhood in chaos. Audra and Sally. Chaos is practically a comfort zone for Sally Spectra. Sally has seldom ever enjoyed the luxury of stability when she first moved to Genoa City from Los Angeles. She has always pursued opportunities that most would have considered unachievable due to her fearless demeanor, keen sense of humor, and unwavering ambition. However, those same traits frequently turned her into an enemy or made her open to treachery. Sally now finds herself looking into the void of uncertainty once more following the demise of Abbott Communications, a business that was meant to be a fresh start for her. When she meets with Audra, her eyes might possibly sparkle with tears, but they won't stay for long. With each new difficulty, Sally reinvents herself, rising from the ashes like a phoenix. But Audra is made of a different fabric. Audra thrives on control and strategy, whereas Sally lives on reinvention. She is a strategist who sees opportunities in every relationship and every failure. She sees an opportunity rather than just failure when she surveys the remains of Abbott Communications. She is aware that power is always shifting in Genoa City and that the people who survive are the ones who can take advantage of the fact that others are still immobilized by disappointment. In addition to her inventiveness, Sally's perseverance makes her a valuable ally for Audra. They work together as a kind of yin-yang collaboration, with Audra providing strategy and execution and Sally providing heart and vision. The difference between them will be obvious as they plan their next course of action. Sally might advise launching a little business that capitalizes on her innate abilities, like another design studio or creative endeavor. A direct challenge to Genoa City's business heavyweights, such as Chancellor Winters, Newman Media, or perhaps Chabot itself, is what Audra is most likely to advocate for. Audra wants to rule. She doesn't just want to live. Naturally, the irony is that the very men who now fear losing ground to them had written these women off as lightweights. Sally's vision was underestimated by Billy Abbott. Audra's hunger was discounted by Victor Newman. Instead of seeing them as assets, Jack and Diane saw them as distractions. However, Sally and Audra may become a powerful team if they work together seriously. They could prove that women can establish empires in a place where dynasties rule, in addition to being business partners. The underlying tension in this relationship is what makes it so intriguing. Audra has never been one to play second fiddle, even when Sally is her buddy. The very qualities that unite them, ambition, tenacity, and resolve, may eventually cause them to drift apart. Alliances based on ambition rarely endure, as soap opera history demonstrates. It is almost possible to picture the gradual escalation of rivalry, hushed suspicions, minor betrayals, and the last outburst when one party determines the other is no longer valuable. But for the time being, they are bound together by a common feeling of urgency and loss. And that's enough to ignite a firestorm in a city like Genoa. Claire between temptation and loyalty, Holden's invitation. Although redemption is a theme throughout Claire Grace Newman's story, it is never straightforward or finished. From her manipulation under Jordan's control to her frantic attempts to establish a new identity in a family that hardly knows how to trust her, the scars of her past continue to haunt her. At the very least, Carl Abbott was a symbol of steadiness. Claire had a second shot at believing in love because of his love, his capacity for forgiveness, and his desire to create something genuine. However, stability can also feel oppressive, particularly to someone who has been confined by someone else's expectations for a long period. Let's introduce the wild card, Holden Novak. He appears to be affable, daring, and free of the burdens of the Newman-Abbott rivalry. He is a symbol of liberation, spontaneity, and escape. Holden's casual invitation to Claire to accompany him on his vacation to Los Angeles is not only a suggestion, rather it is a test. Does Claire want the excitement of a new journey with Holden, or does she appreciate the stability Kyle provides? Viewers of soap operas are aware that such solicitations are never harmless. Holden might have more sinister intentions. Maybe he finds Claire's complex family relationships fascinating. Maybe he views her as a means of squeezing himself into the orbits of Abbott or Newman. Or maybe he really wants her, which may make him more unpredictable than any scheming person. This is the riskiest scenario. The choice is difficult for Claire. On the one hand, she is aware that Kyle, who already battles jealousy and trust, would be devastated if she accepted Holden's invitation. From his troubled past with Summer to his incapacity to withstand power battles at Chabot, Kyle has made his share of impetuous blunders in romantic relationships. He has, however, demonstrated a willingness to be patient with Claire, possibly more so than in the past. Even an inadvertent betrayal of that confidence by Claire could cause Kyle to revert to the same harmful habits that have afflicted his father Billy for years. However, Claire must consider if sticking with Kyle is out of obligation or out of love. Does she cling to him because he is secure, or is she genuinely in love with him? She is forced to face that unpleasant reality by Holden's presence. These kinds of quandaries are ideal for soap opera narrative, and it is obvious that Claire's decision will have repercussions. She runs the risk of losing Kyle forever if she accepts Holden's proposal, but she might also learn something about herself that she has been too scared to acknowledge. She remains faithful if she declines, although she may feel resentful of the sacrifice. In any case, the explosion is certain since Holden has ignited a fuse. Being a mother and a corporate general, Victoria Newman has never been able to completely control her inclinations. Under Victor Newman's attentive and cunning surveillance, she learned that love was weakness until used as leverage, and that control was survival. From her failed marriages to her tumultuous business ties, her upbringing has influenced every relationship she has ever had. She is compelled to intervene when she witnesses Kyle Abbott having difficulties in his relationship with Claire. According to spoilers, Victoria's counsel will be straightforward but effective. Give Claire some space. For someone like Kyle, who has a streak of impetuous Abbott blood running through him and wears his heart on his sleeve, it's nearly impossible, even though it sounds simple enough. Kyle thinks Claire will eventually lower her barriers if he simply works hard enough and shows her how much he loves her. He is unaware that pressure can have unintended consequences, particularly for someone like Claire who has resisted authority her entire life. Of all people, Victoria is aware of this. She is aware that neither love nor trust can be coerced. Her own past with men who attempted to manipulate her from JT. She has gained severe insight into the effects of suffocation masquerading as adoration thanks to Ashland Locke. However, Victoria's situation is ironic. She has interfered in her kids' lives for years, frequently leading them down paths they didn't want to take. Although her counsel to Kyle is sound, considering her own history, it can come across as hypocritical. However, people who have failed the most can occasionally provide insight, and Victoria has undoubtedly benefited from her mistakes. But it's a different story if Kyle pays attention. The logic of waiting can be subordinated to his need to show himself by following Claire. Kyle's jealousy may cause him to act recklessly, possibly even pursuing them across the nation, if he finds out that Holden has invited Claire to Los Angeles. Victoria's warning will be foretelling if that occurs, since his impetuosity will push Claire farther away rather than closer. The city of Genoa's ripple effect. The way these plots interact with Genoa City as a whole is what makes them so captivating. The business environment could be upended by Sally and Audra's plotting, which could lead to new rivalries with Victor, Jack, and Chancellor Winters. Claire's relationship with Kyle and the delicate equilibrium between the Abbott and Newman families are both strained by Holden's invitation. Furthermore, Victoria's counsel, whether followed or not, restores her reputation as a sane voice in a community where it is frequently lacking. Every action in this episode paves the way for future, more significant conflicts. Whose toes will Sally and Audra step on first if they start a new business? Will Kyle's jealousy turn into destructive conduct that reflects Billy's worst qualities if Claire even entertains Holden's offer? Will Victoria run the risk of upsetting Kyle, or even Claire if she continues to meddle? Claire might perceive Victoria as just another Newman attempting to control her decisions. These layers are what make the young and the restless so beautiful. Nothing occurs in a vacuum. Multiple characters' paths can be altered by a single plan, invitation, or piece of advice. Additionally, on September 23rd, 2025, viewers can anticipate the sowing of seeds that will develop into captivating plotlines over the course of several weeks. On weekdays, watch brand new episodes of The Young and the Restless on Paramount Plus and CBS.